How you doing, sir? Yes, how are you? I've been ready for this.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
How are you doing?
You didn't make it through traffic.
Barely. It's unbelievable.
Okay, I'm
Sure, man, you know.
money on it, but another bit, he's actually related.
I figured you said 45 and 85.
I did. I left at 3 o'clock. Just worked in the Starbucks down the road there for a little bit, just because I knew it was going to be bad. It took me like an hour and 15 minutes to get here.
If I don't leave work at 3 o'clock, it's 3:01, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
I gotta leave at 3 o'clock.
Is that about when I was asking him, when does it really hit? Is it? Let's bring this meeting to order. Well,
Commissioner Morton?
Here.
Commissioner Connor? Here. Mayor Pro Tem Cornell? Here. Commissioner Fowler?
Here.
Commissioner Moore?
Here.
Mayor Black?
President. Staff invocation. Dear God, our Father in heaven, once again we give thanks unto you. Today was a beautiful day, beautiful weather. We thank you for that. Thank you for the past weekend that we had. How the sun shone so brightly on Sunday morning. We thank you for your goodness and your mercies upon our town. We pray, Lord, as we conduct business for the town tonight, that we'll be attentive to your guidance and leadership. We pray your blessings upon us in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, first item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion, have a second.
Mr. Mayor, I would just ask that we have action item number 8 removed from the agenda as the honey hunters will not be here.
All right. President's gonna be swamped. Honey hunters for the
I'll make a motion to adjust the agenda.
we have a second for the adjustment. All right. All in favor? So carried. No comment from attendees. Matthew, you got anything to say?
No.
All right. Next item, the approval of the March 9th regular meeting minutes. Motion.
I'll say.
Have a motion second, all in favor? So carried. Approval of the March 9th closed session meeting minutes. We have a motion for that. We have a motion, a second. Ms. Robin, all in favor? So carried. New business. North Carolina League of Municipalities Law Enforcement Accreditation.
I believe the league's running a bit behind tonight, Mr. Mayor. If you all are agreeable, we'll continue on and then pick back up when they arrive.
All right. All right, let's go to our fiscal year 2024 budget discussions.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Before you tonight, you have the second draft budget for fiscal year 24. There have been minor tweaks since we met last month. We continue to work with our insurance company for our final renewals, so those numbers may fluctuate a bit. We're also working with our healthcare provider to look at what our rates are going to be for employee insurance for next year. Those are still tentative. Those numbers will likely, the health insurance cost, I think, will decrease slightly. The premiums from the league are uncertain as of this time. I do need more of an itemized budget this go around to show you which salaries are coming from which line items. Some more descriptions on where some of these costs are being associated with. I'll be glad to answer any questions. We can go through department by department like last month, or we can address any questions that you all may have. Ms. Rowan and I have been working on this over the last month, leading up into yesterday, to try to get you as much information and as accurate as possible as we move forward with the budget discussion.
For the utility fund, there are no changes to our numbers, right?
From last
We're not
month.
changing our rates or anything.
No. There are no utility adjustments, water, sewer, stormwater, or even garbage. I think this is a good stab at it. Unfortunately, I do not believe it's going to be quite as accurate as last year because the numbers that we're seeing in budget day actuals are higher than we'd anticipated in some line items, just given the sheer cost of things. We're working on issues from flooding that we had over the weekend that exposed a sewer line. We're looking to get a pipe to extend the drain in that area, and it's 2-3 times as much as it would have been sometime back to be able to purchase it. I feel confident we're still going to have a strong year as we finish out fiscal year 23, but the rising cost of things have certainly played a factor in this budget, and even with the increases that we've done in fiscal year 24, I think that it's going to be evident as we start into the new fiscal year.
So for the salaries, this includes bonuses, but no raises, right?
Christmas bonuses, yes ma'am.
And that's the same amount that it was last year?
I believe we did $775 the past few years.
I mean, my concern, but the concern with that is that gonna put us behind in terms of pay again?
I would think for this year, we are on sound footing. We did some pretty significant salary adjustments in December. With those salary adjustments that we did, that not only met market rate, it actually put us a little above for most of our employees. I feel confident that for this particular year, based on what I'm seeing through the North Carolina City and County Managers listserv, they're looking at anywhere between 2 to 5 currently. So if we were to, let's just say, retroactively look back at where we were this time last year, and if we had done if we'd done cost of living adjustments last year and then an additional cost of living adjustment this year, I still feel like we're at market rate and very competitive. You look around at other cities, municipalities here in Gaston County, with those salary adjustments, we implemented a $40,000 minimum base salary for employees. As far as I know, that's not the case with any other municipalities here, certainly not some of the smaller ones. So I feel confident that we are in a good spot, and we've been competitive with attracting and retaining talent since we put those measures in place in December. I feel like we're in a good spot in regards to salaries, and we have been very fortunate. We're full staff in Public Works, and we're soon to be fully staffed in the police department. So I think that's a direct reflection of those with salary adjustments.
As long as it doesn't, we've spent a long time trying to keep up, and now that we're ahead, hopefully, we'll make it so we can.
Right. And there was a lot of gratitude amongst employees for those salary adjustments in December, because we did forego cost of living adjustments for a couple of years that we weren't able to really make substantial changes in salary adjustments. So again, thank you. I know that our employees were very appreciative of that.
On the recreation,
Yes, sir.
is that the salary of an individual that's going to be hired this coming year, or is that someone you pay out of staff?
Yes, sir. That's a current employee. Over the past couple of years, we have paid one salary out of recreation for field upkeep, park upkeep, cleaning the lodge, making sure that the facilities were taken care of, cleaning community building, grass cutting, mowing, things of the like. So that's one current employee.
On the recreation piece, I know the lodge is soon to be finished.
Yes.
Are there any plans to renovate the playground there?
At the lodge. I actually had a piece on that. We met with Cunningham Recreation today. They're doing site assessments of the Fulbright Wagon Park, the Garden Park, and I hope to have some renderings of those in the next couple of weeks. We were talking about, number one, using some of our direct allocations that we got for ADA accessibility to those parks, and number two, bringing in safer, newer, more modern playground equipment, even looking at condensing the footprint of the park, making things a little closer together. The initial discussions that we had today is where the cornhole board is, the side of the skate park behind us here, putting a large piece of playground equipment there and minimizing some of the size across the bridge, because there's issues with ADA accessibility with the bridge, issue with the Duke Energy right away through there, and then of course the cost. It's a great expense to completely mulch that area each year. Cunningham is going to have us some renderings over the next couple of weeks, and I hope once the lodge is completed, we're going to have the freestanding Renaissance structure that's going to be really to the left of the building if you're standing in front of it, near where the former playground was. we had had initial talks before things slowed down in the lodge a bit about looking towards where the former overhanging gazebo grill was through there, to having a small piece of playground equipment through there. And based on the conversations that I had with Cunningham today, the prices that they're tentatively quoting us for the upfitting of Garden Park, for the upfitting of the Park Drive Park, I still think we'll have adequate funds to be able to put something small at the lodge, particularly based off of the interest that we've drawn off those direct allocation, direct funds that we have in our North Carolina Capital Management account. So, yes, ma'am, I think once we are able to have the lodge a little closer to being finished, that we will be in a position to be able to put a piece of playground equipment.
Can we get covered chairs down before?
We talked about two options today, and I think that they will be, they'll be on those renderings when we get them. We looked at a large, they come in 12 by 12, 14 by 14, 18 by 18, and 20 by 20 kind of awnings. We looked at putting one where those benches are to the side of the splash pad inside the fence, putting one there, and that would provide some shade for the splash pad and provide shade for those benches through there. And we'd actually looked at closer to where the playground could potentially go, putting some of those umbrella-like structures through there to increase shade. That was a lengthy conversation we had today, because that's really the biggest concern that I've certainly heard over the past few years, that there's just no shaded area through there, since the trees were taken out 3-4 years
I'd
ago.
like to do another picnic area there too.
A picnic area?
If you could, I mean,
Sure.
it's feasible.
Are those like the sails? You know what I'm talking about?
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were looking at one, like I said, the backside of that fence, the splash pad, to kind of cover up some of those benches. We were looking at concreting that. We're looking at getting rid of all the gravel. We're out there, not ADA accessible, and of course it causes a mess when there's a splash pad having to sweep and upkeep with that. So we're looking at concreting, putting walkways through there to provide ADA accessibility and to kind of tidy and clean up some of that gravel. So yes, I certainly think a picnic area would
Would
be.
be including equipment for children or disabilities?
Yes, that was.
Types.
Yes, sir, Mr. Fowler. Today I made clear to Cunningham that we want the majority, if not all, of the playground equipment that we're getting to be ADA accessible. And we're looking at infant to 12, having something for amenities for infant to 12.
And some of that equipment that was in disrepair, that we replaced those, or?
It is. We talked today about potentially surplusing the current equipment, selling that and using that towards some of the park renovations and putting towards the surplus line item. Cunningham had indicated they may have some contact with people that were interested in purchasing used equipment, so that may be an avenue that could be beneficial.
As far as our revenues, I know we talked last month about taking another look at those, and I've got the figures here that Sarah gave me before the meeting. It's a little bit hard to parse out exactly what is what, but
And
I guess where does that stand?
it's difficult to project. Sarah did an excellent job pulling together the numbers from the prior year audits that showed exactly what we brought in, but they're inconsistent because it's difficult to project what's going to be sold, what type of franchise tax we're going to get, what type of sales tax we're going to get. These numbers are based on where we currently stand with this year's revenue. We've underprojected slightly, but not a lot. Currently, we had projected, let me just, for example, grab them. Let's just say the sales tax, Article 39, we had projected that we would bring in $140,000. We're right now at 131. There should be another amount that's going to be put in there, another bridge will be put into there, but it's going to be pretty close. It may be a little over, but it's not going to be very much over. We've almost got all of Article 42. We projected 65,000. We're at 64.5. In a good year, these numbers are low, but in a year that's really uncertain, I think that these numbers are a good conservative estimate for the minimum that we would bring in. I wouldn't want to over-project any of these revenues for fear that there may be some changes or things that are unforeseen. These numbers have been adjusted slightly from where we started in fiscal year 21. These numbers, we've increased them some from where we were when we started budgeting several years ago. I've taken a hard look at it, read up on some of the revenue projections that the league put out I think where we stand is a good, a good number to be at. Whether or not it's accurate is really anybody's best guess. It's based on the projections that the league's putting out and based on prior years of what we've done. And we'll continue to watch that. If it seems as though in the next month or so, when we get some more rounds of funding coming into our account and being deposited, and if it looks like there is going to be larger than expected amount that's deposited, we can certainly reflect and make those changes going into early May. But it won't be until probably August, September that we get the final round of sales tax for the fiscal year 23. So it won't be until that time that we know exactly what we brought in until such time as August. Difficult for sure.
Cause I feel like if we're $5,000 to $10,000 off on each of these, like, low, estimating low, and bring in $5,000 or $10,000 more in each line item, that's quite a bit of money
Right.
that we could not take from the taxpayer.
And the tax rate, of course, is uncertain too, with the larger evaluation that we have recently undertaken. We've consistently years past been 98, 99% collection, whether or not that number stand 1%, 2% in collection would make a difference when it comes to some of these projections.
For next month, because I know this is not the final book, for next month, can we have last year's actual, this year's projected, and then the budget amounts for next year?
Sure. So fiscal year 22 actuals,
Yes. And then 23 projected,
23 projection.
like projected based on actuals.
For revenue or revenue and expenditures?
Yes, but
Both.
just so that it's a little bit easier to see the differences between all the line items. Cause a lot of this, it's a lot of numbers. And so being able to compare them like to like, all on the same sheet of paper would be really helpful.
You can certainly go back to.
Can you, do you have the last draft budget and tell me what the difference is between the surplus, the projected surplus from that budget and this one?
For the general fund, let me grab this. Make sure I give you the right number. I've got one there on it. Right. Okay, in the general fund, last budget, we were looking at a surplus of $90,122.42. Under the new one, it's slightly less than that.
84.
84.
Got the new one right here, I just didn't want to copy this.
Utility, I don't believe utility funds changed. Draft budget one had $73,194.20.
Thank you.
Sorry about that.
And you said the changes from last budget draft to this one were based on insurance.
Some insurance, preliminary quotes that we received. There were some additional expenditures in salary line items for IT that were not included in the first one that we caught. I believe those were the major ones that we changed. There were minor changes.
Is this utility fund reflecting anything for the, repairs or cleaning for the Dust Street?
The only thing that would provide, for that would be the, surplus that we have in there, $73,000 we have surplus in there. Some of the line items were adjusted accordingly to account for inflation, some of the costs that, we've seen rise in the past couple of years, but there's not any specific, capital improvements that are funded through this. I'm hopeful that with some of the money that we're lobbying in Raleigh and in Washington, that we'll be able to, secure some of that money to use towards infrastructure repair. There's roughly $8.5 million that we're working to secure from Raleigh in sewer line rehabilitation. Roughly $1.5 million too from Washington for a second interconnect with the city of Gastonia and the Monterey Park Drive. I hope that with some of that money, we can either one, fund these projects, or two, use it as security to apply for either more money or loan money to fix some of these larger problems. Because as Mr. Harper can tell you, the Duff Street lift station is in quite disrepair, as is waste management. We're having issues with the waste management lift station currently, with one of the engines being out and back over the parts.
So I know that lift station on Dust Street is fairly old. Do we have a plan, what we're gonna do to really get the whole system there and then put a lift station in?
We have a plan for it. We have engineering designs. We have that particular project. It was listed, I believe, #1 in our capital improvement plan for wastewater upfitting and capital improvement plans. We have the plans systematically getting funding for the particular project. I can certainly give you specifics on what we're looking to do with it, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was complete rehabilitation of the system, upfitting it with the needs that we currently have, as opposed to the needs that we had some recent.
I know it, but being older, kind of focus probably
Yes, sir. Right. The I&I is very difficult, not to go by what we find across town when it rains. You can see the next month the bills go up significantly because of the rainwater that's in the renewable system that's going through the meter, the gas system.
So sewage is being treated, it's rising, rainwater.
Oh, yes, sir.
Still above our minimum,
About a minute.
or maximum. We had looked at doing that at our one time, and, that they said it wasn't necessary to even look into it, because we wouldn't send them like two gas down.
The maximum for what we can send the gas to them?
What they billed us for.
Right.
it's still needed.
At least, it's all, yes, it would be metered, it would go through the meter and it would show exactly what's being metered through there. As far as reaching a moratorium regarding what we can send there, we wouldn't be close to that. They bill us for, the actual usage of what actually goes through the meter through there, but we wouldn't be anywhere close to reaching any type of moratorium on what we're allowed to send to the
Where
particular.
is it equal to our amount of water we find? Is it equal to or above?
Depending on the weather, if it's a hard rain, it would be above normal water that we're buying. And, there's been some glitches over the past few months with the water and sewer disparities that we're looking into, but, the sewer is usually higher, and last year we had roughly a 12% water loss from what we actually billed based on what we actually bought from the city of Gastonia. If that is in the general idea.
So the 45% tax rate we're gonna drop from 50 to 45.
In
Even
draft
though
budget.
with the amount of adjustment that's been done to tax revenue. The home's value.
In draft budget number 2, it shows a 45% tax rate, which, yes, sir, is down from 50. I know last month we talked about revenue neutral and what it would be to break even. Certainly that would be a decision for all of you. We will certainly make work with whatever the board would like to see, With, at a 45% tax rate, that does show us at a surplus of $84,000 in this budget, but that would be a decision that would be for you all, and we will certainly make whatever rate you guys feel comfortable with work for this budget.
Well, the report that we got, that I downloaded, logos for, North Carolina local government system. It shows that we have $80,327,409.
That would be rough. Yes, it would.
Where is the amount of interest that we incurred on this? Don't show anything on this report. Do we
Yeah.
have a report?
I can certainly get you that report with what we have. Those numbers, the interest totals are accumulated in that. I believe it is roughly $8 million. 3.5 of that would be the direct allocations that we got from Raleigh that are in a capital management account,
Right.
that are earmarked for specific purposes that are drawing interest. That would lower us closer to about 4.5. We have around $3 million in our regular capital management trust account, which would put us about $6.5 million, and then we have our POW bill account that would account for close to the rest. So that would be the combination of 3 funds that we have with North Carolina Capital Management Trust. The interest has been strong in that. The interest that we acquire on that is not showed in the revenue side of things. It accumulates on the North Carolina Capital Management side of things. We've expended roughly $800,000 to $1 million from our direct allocation account with the Boulder Court project, with sidewalk upfitting, and some of the other projects that we've expended. Sarah and I worked on that last Thursday doing the quarterly report for that. And the money that we've made in interest, which we have to account for on that report, has almost put us at even where we were at the start of the direct allocations. So the interest that we're acquiring from North Carolina Capital Management account, at least on our interest, at least on the assets that we have there, has been rather strong, particularly over the last year.
But it's not,
And I can
showing on our general fund revenue.
It wouldn't show on the logos report. It would not show under the general fund revenue. This would be on investments that we have. But I can certainly get you that number because we just sent that off last Thursday with what the interest was on the North Carolina Capital Improvement budget, or the North Carolina Capital Management direct allocations. It was approximately $10,000 that we got in the last quarter on interest on this capital management, and the capital management account and direct allocation. I can pull together a report to show you the interest that we garner off of those investments and the ones that we have in our regular North Carolina Capital Trust account and the Powder account. I can pull some together.
17,000.
For 10,000 in the last quarter.
On the last draft budget, you had the different tax rates.
Yes.
And the amount that it would change sorry.
Yeah, the fund balance addition.
Right, can you put that on the next one again?
Sure.
So we can get a hard look at it? Cause I don't love 45. But I also don't want to,
Like, it's too high, too low.
it's too high.
45 is too high.
But I also don't want to circumstances where I would like to see us sustain what we have in the fund balance. We don't need to add a lot to it, we can give ourselves some wiggle room, I think that's prudent, but, in terms of trying to continue building our fund balance, I don't think we necessarily need to be terribly aggressive with that.
I agree. Not this year.
Ms. Cordell, you wanted to see, roughly from revenue neutral up to where we are 50, how much that would add to the fund balance based on each
Not
month's
to
income?
50, starting at 45 down.
45 down.
You said 38 would be neutral.
38 would be neutral. 38 would break even with what we have budgeted for. I believe revenue neutral is around 33 and a half, if I'm not mistaken.
It's 32, 33.
Okay, somewhere around that range. 38 would roughly break even with what we have budgeted for.
That would basically put us at zero surplus, zero
Right.
deficit.
No net gain, no adjustment.
And they'll get the same cost as last year too, the cost went up.
It would be the cost of what we have in this fiscal year 24 budget.
No,
Revenue
it's-
neutral last.
It's not change, we wouldn't change any of the numbers in this draft budget, it just changes the surplus or
Fund
deficit.
balance.
For us-
Or we drop it down to 34.
For us to bring in the same amount of money as we did last year for fiscal year 23, we would need to be at that 33 cent range. For us to break even at what it's costing fiscal year 24, it would be at that 37, 38 cent. If we may, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, I think that we'll likely need another meeting between now and the 11th in order to finalize this so that we can send it to the LGC review prior to the budget message in May, or we can review again in May and then have a different meeting prior to the June meeting, whichever works well for you guys.
Two weeks.
May 4th or April 27th?
Say, the fire department meeting that night.
I'll do that.
And it doesn't have to be a Thursday if you guys wanted to look towards anytime 2 weeks from now.
I'm good, any Wednesday through Friday.
Wednesday through Friday.
You have to have a report in on the 11th.
I need to have in the draft budget prior to giving the budget message. And I would just need to submit that 30 days prior to a vote on the budget.
I'm hoping, before.
Whatever works well for you guys.
About May 3rd or
May 4th?
Yeah, thank you.
May 4th would be, I think so.
6.
May 4th at 6. And at that,
I'll have to phone him.
and at that time, we can look at fiscal year 22 actuals versus fiscal year 23 projections. And we can look at the percentage of the tax from 45 cent down. And then we can make a definitive decision on what we're gonna send it to the LGC to review. Not saying that they will rubber stamp it because they have been really good to give us feedback over the last couple of years.
So May 4th at 6.
May 4th and 6th, special budget meeting.
Any other discussions upon the budget? Commissioners? Next item on the agenda is resolution for intent to apply for lead removal in water lines.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, we are applying for a grant in order to identify and remove lead from our water lines. This is a new federal requirement that has to be done prior to October of 2024. There's currently a grant available that we feel as though we have a competitive chance to apply for. The first step in applying for that grant would be the board ratifying an intent to apply for the lead removal in the water line. So I would just ask for a motion to approve the resolution to move forward with this grant, pursuing this grant.
I'll make a motion to move forward.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second, all in favor? So carried.
And if we want to go to the league, I think
Let's
they're
do that. All right, item number 6, North Carolina League of Municipalities Law Enforcement Accreditation. Take the stand, state your name.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate your patience and all that this evening. Sorry I was running a little bit behind. But yes, so my name is Matthew Sells. I am the Law Enforcement Risk Management Consultant with the North Carolina League of Municipalities. Thank you, Mayor Black and the Ranlo Town Commissioners for this time in recognizing the Ranlo Police Department for completing North Carolina League's Law Enforcement Risk Management Review process. Now, the risk review process involves a very comprehensive agency review of high-risk policies, operations, practices, and includes a detailed on-site agency administrative and operations review. We look at the equipment, we look at the facility upgrades, we do a little bit of inspection, do some officer interviews, we observe operations, do ride-alongs with the officers, and just to make sure that their policies and procedures go inside with best practice and procedures across many police departments across North Carolina and the United States. We specifically look at high-risk liability areas, police vehicle operations, use of force, evidence processing, training, about 39 categories in all. The review is supported by the North Carolina Associations of Chiefs of Police. And I'm proud to report this evening that the Ranlo Police Department has successfully completed the law enforcement risk review process. The chief, the command staff, and the department officers prioritized this initiative and made this process a departmental priority across. The department was very proactive. They're involved during the whole process. They worked with me back and forth, getting things reviewed and upgraded and all that. And during the process and their willingness to participate in this very important initiative. And on behalf of the league, I'd like to present the chief and the department with a plaque from the North Carolina League recognizing the Ranlo Police Department for completing the law enforcement risk management process. Presented today, April 13th. It is April 13th, 2023. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
We'll stand aside and we'll get everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
Council, I'd always like to include council in the picture too as well.
I think if you guys want to stand to the side and kind of huddle in, I can get you all guys where you are unless you want to. I just can't see waves. There we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. And 1. Great job. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In this case, let's make sure that happens.
I was trying to take you so much fun to say a few words.
Matt, thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
They've been working very hard on this. Really had initiated it shortly after I got here, so it's been a long time coming for sure. And this will certainly benefit us in any number of ways, since our insurance is through the League of Municipalities. This will help with lower rates for some of our renewals for the police department. So it's a great achievement, and I'm certainly pleased to finally see it come to fruition.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the awarding of the contract for fiscal year 2023 audit.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Before you tonight, you have a contract with fiscal year 23 audit from Mr. Eddie Carrick and Associates. He has submitted his proposal to us to audit our books again this year. He has helped us with fiscal year 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and is still interested in pursuing the fiscal year 23 audit. The contract is very similar to years past. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer to the best of my ability. But I would recommend the awarding of the audit to Mr. Garrett again for this fiscal year.
We have a
I'll make a
motion.
motion to award.
I second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor? So carried. Next item on the agenda is the resolution approving the town of Ranlo water shortage response plan.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. North Carolina Rural Water has been generous enough to help us with some of our water shortage response plans, some of our local water supply plans that we have to submit to the state in order to be compliant with the requirements that they have. They have tentatively approved the water shortage response plan that we submitted. The only remaining action item that we need is the adoption of a resolution approving the water shortage plan. So upon the adoption of that resolution, coupled with the response plan that North Carolina Rural Water put into place for us, we will be in a position to be continue to be compliant with state requirements.
Okay.
I will make a motion to adopt the response plan.
All right, we have a motion to adopt the response plan. We have a second. We have a second. All in favor? So carried. The next item is other business, town manager's report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Several of these things I've talked about, but I wanted to recap. First of all, with Cunningham Recreation, as I mentioned, we did meet today. By the May 4th meeting, I think that we will have some 3D renderings to show you all what we're looking at with the updating of some of these parks. So I'm feeling very good about this project. I'm hoping that we will have everything completed by the 60th anniversary celebration based on what we're looking at, based on the amount of time it's going to cost to get some playground equipment in. But we can certainly talk more about that on the 4th. Also, on that same note, with the 60th anniversary coming up July 28th and 29th, I wanted to recognize Meridian and Standard Distributors. They have both agreed to provide a donation to sponsor our event, and I have a few other businesses that we are in talks with in order to be able to have this really a public-private celebration in the community event. We have confirmed, again, 4 bands for the event. We have our fireworks. We're going to do free hot dogs on Saturday night, the night of the fireworks, the day of our actual 60th anniversary. The carnival will be here Friday, Saturday. We talked this week. Rocky would like to stay Sunday afternoon from 1 to 7 to keep the carnival going for 3 days. We will, of course, have the same profit sharing plan that we've had in the past. Very excited about this. We're working on getting T-shirts made and continuing to look for a few more sponsors to help out with some of those costs. So things are certainly falling into place with that. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of energy, and Garland Burks has done a phenomenal job promoting it on our social media pages and the content creation that they have undertaken for us. Spoke today with the contractor with Boulder Court. There is a bit of delay in getting the paving done. We're looking at doing the milling May 10th, the week of May 10th, and then the paving on following week, May 16th, May 17th. We're finalizing what I hope to be the final 2 engineering studies for the lodge, that being a life safety plan and a formal ADA plan for the lodge. That should be concluded by the end of the month, and that should be the last piece that we need in order to move forward with getting our building permit from the county. As we've mentioned before, we have received promising news from Congressman Jeff Jackson's office. I spoke to his office this week. They have publicly announced that they are supporting a second interconnect with the city of Gastonia. Roughly $1.5 million was one of the projects that he chose to pursue, to file for and lobby for. So we are certainly optimistic and appreciative of that. Also been in touch with our Representative John Torbett and Senator Overcash. They have both given signs of hope and promising news that there will be hopefully some allocations made for Ranlo in the General Assembly budget. The budget's been released, but there's not been any type of itemizations for specific towns, specific cities that are being allocated for currently. With their talks, they're just in lump sums. As always, want to thank Public Works for the tremendous job they've done over the past few weeks. We got a ton of rain over the weekend. They had to come in and nurse several of the lift stations. We've had issues with flooding, with manholes. They've done a great job, as well as the police department. We've had a lot of extra calls over the past few weeks. It's been a very busy time, but As always, they have done a great job, particularly with short staff that we have in the police department. We are running final background on what will be our final empty position in the police department. So with that, hope to be soon hire. We will be back at full staff pending the one that is pending the current officer we are working with BLET, putting through BLET. As we mentioned before, we sent our 6-month report to the local government commission, showing them our budget to date actuals, and upon the ratification of the board to send the draft budget for fiscal year 24, we'll be in touch with their offices. And lastly, the senior brunch bingo is going to be on May 5th. It's going to be again at 11. Maylow Methodist Church has been gracious enough to offer to host us, since the lodge will not be finished by then. So that will be on Friday, May 5th at 11 a.m. at Maylow. That is that concludes my formal report, Mr. Mayor, but I will be glad to answer any questions, concerns, or areas of clarification that the board may have.
Any questions for John? Or, no? I did attend the local meeting, NPO, and talked to Dean, the engineer, and he was, the meeting we was in, he talked about the railroad crossing out here, how he was confused when he came through. That was our biggest discussion, was that, and he was saying that it was actually in Gastonia, because our town limit is across the railroad track. This is the Norfolk Southern. But he was gonna talk with the city of Gastonia about getting some money, maybe redoing that crossing to where we could use that center turn lane. And that's where it's causing a problem. You can't get about 5 cars in there that wants to turn. And a lot of people, they come to down the Cox Road and turn right or left onto 7 to go home. It's causing a problem. So
You know the reason behind that, don't you?
I didn't know, but they was talking about maybe some gates that would go across the whole lanes on both sides instead of having the 4 crossings per side, or two per side. There's a 4 per side now, and we only have 2 per side. That's how Boyle has theirs. They have the same amount of lanes, 5. But that would really help us a lot, I think. There's a lot of confusion out there, you don't know if to get over in the far right lane and try to get around, and anybody's going straight and you get cut off. That would be great. So he was going to talk about it, see what he come up the next meeting. Get Gastonia funded, because it gets a part of their UDO.
And I saw preliminary designs this week, last week, and then revised again for putting the turning lane on Spencer Mountain Road, passing Warlick, starting right there at East Long, turning into the service station side, putting in a turn lane there. They sent preliminary renderings, and I hope by the end of the month they're going to have some more official engineering designs placed that show ADA crossing, making sure that wheelchair accessibility through there. But they are moving forward with that quicker than I had anticipated. Mr. Fowler and I met maybe a month and a half ago with Randy Gates and the DOT, and we had scored 42, and a 40 was the minimum. So they are moving forward with that, and it appears as though that may be coming into fruition soon.
First of all, I want to thank Public Works for their dedicated work. CJB to pass it on, and the police department as well. But I want to call out Jonathan, as you recently had your 3-year anniversary of the town. And I want to say what of all the decisions that we've made as a board, hiring you was the best one.
Agreed.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, at that point, I think Matthew May should be jumping up and down and screaming. Agreeing with that, okay.
I wish we did this one too bad.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I got some concerns I want to bring up that some citizens have brought to my attention the last few days. I I know we're short-staffed on police officers, but, they're asking for some more patrol at night over in Mountain View, Spencer Heights area. I'm sure it's probably townwide. Hard to get broke into by teenagers and young adults. And, they asked for some speed bumps in Everest. Yeah, that their cars were speeding down that road, but again, that's probably townwide, or Sunset, that area, so I don't know about that as well. And, I know when we talked about that construction and renovations and stuff, we said Gaston County was behind. Maybe I'd like to see, maybe if we can just have public works or someone go out through and see if more of that's going on in town. This last week was, what I saw was not good for the neighbors of those little residences. That's all I have.
We'll certainly work with you.
Next item would be closed session. Like us, hey, motion to enter closed session.
For
Mr.
sure.
Mayor, do you mind reading the whole thing there?
Okay. Closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318, 11A, 3-6 for attorney-client privilege.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion, we have a second.